Hello, you're now joining me together with my EC40 Twin Performance Black Edition. All electric. I have made the leap. I have went for electric car. This is actually my third electric Volvo. But what do you do if you're not ready to take the leap over to a full electric car? What do you do if you're not ready to leave back your combustion car? And also, if you want to stay within the Volvo family, what do you do then? Well, maybe Volvo have a solution to that. Because Volvo have recently launched a brand new car, the XC70. And before you jump out of your chair in excitement, it is not the XC70 as we know it. I'm actually staring at two XC70s right now. I'm in Sweden for a little weekend trip, and I got two XC70s in the background here. But it's not that version we're gonna get. We're gonna get a new take on the XC70. This is gonna be a long-range plug-in hybrid. Because what you do if you're not ready, as I said, to go full electric. You want the benefits of an all-electric car, but you're not ready to take the leap yet over to a full electric car. Then the XC70 can be a solution for you. The XC70 will be like a bridge over to a full electric future. And the XC70, this long-range plug-in hybrid, will also be a cornerstone in Volvo's future for the electric or electrified portfolio. So the XC70 are quite important. But it's not electric. It is a plug-in hybrid, as I said. You got a combustion engine in front, but you got a massive battery. And it's actually a couple of months since Volvo launched the XC70, but I haven't really made a video about it until now. Because some things have changed over the last week. You know, the XC70 was the third car in line to be launched from Volvo. The third car in a line of cars that I haven't made a video about. And the reason for that was that they were all available just in China. First we got the Volvo EM90, this van type, multi-van. That was based on the Seeker 009. It was actually just a reskinned Seeker 009. It has been a massive sales flop in China. And I've actually just seen it once when I was at the Volvo event up in northern Sweden, the EM90, based on the SEA platform within the Geely family, SEA. And then we actually got the S90 facelift. I was super stoked for the S90 facelift as a previous owner of the S90. So super stoked. Yes, Volvo have dropped the wagons, the V60 and the V90, but they gave a reskin or a redesign for the S90. Super stoked, and then I saw that little line, only for China. I was just like, god damn. And then they did it again. They launched the XC70. I was super stoked, long range plug-in hybrid, the design was kind of okay. And then the little line, only for China. I was like, damn. So these three cars haven't really excited me that much since I can't get them. And by the way, this new XC70 are also based on a Geely platform. It is based on the SMA platform. It's a platform that's shared with the Lync & Co 008 EMP. So these two cars share platforms, but only for China. Until 27th of August, like 3 or 4 days ago. I got a press release from Volvo Car Norway on Wednesday. Today is Sunday. I'm on a little weekend trip down here in Strömstad, do some borderline shopping. But Volvo dropped a huge announcement on Wednesday. They said the XC70 are coming to Europe. And I was like, finally, yes. But that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to look at all the details on the XC70 because on Wednesday I started looking at different YouTube reviews, primarily in Chinese. Couldn't understand anything, but I was just looking at the video clips on the pictures and all of those and did some research. And also via the Volvo Car Chinese webpage. We're going to start to look at the exterior dimensions of the all-new XC70 and compare it against the XC60 and the XC90. Just going to bring my trusted notebook so I don't mess up with all of the numbers we have to look through in this section here. Because I'm going to compare the XC70 here on my left side versus the XC60 and the XC90 on my right side. In terms of exterior dimensions, the XC70 slots perfectly between the 60 and the 90. Because the overall length of the XC70, 4 meters and 81. And if we compare it against the 60 and the 90, you can see that it's 11 centimeters longer than the XC60, but 14 centimeters shorter than the XC90. So yeah, almost perfectly in the middle. The width, 1 meter and 89, so slightly more narrow than the other two. The height, 1 meter and 65, so exactly the same as the XC60. And the wheelbase, 2 meter and 89. So 3 centimeters longer than the XC60, but significantly shorter than the XC90. So that is the exterior dimensions. But then we have to jump over to the next topic. Or maybe before we talk about powertrain, we have to talk about one more thing in terms of exterior dimensions. Because I couldn't find the number for the ground clearance. Because all of the numbers and all of the information I have found here, and all of the pictures and video clips, I have gotten from Volvo Car China, from their web page, from Volvo Cars different web pages in China. That is where I've gotten all of this information, because the press release from Volvo Car Norway, that was pretty thin. That was just covering the top layer. This is the car, it is coming to Europe, this is how it looks like. Enjoy. So I had to do some digging, and I've seen a bunch of different Chinese YouTube videos of the XC70 in order to make this list here. But I couldn't find the ground clearance. But the corporate sister, this Lync & Co 008, was approximately like 18 to 19 centimeters in ground clearance. So it's, yeah, proper SUV. In terms of towing, also couldn't find anything from Volvo's parts, but the Lync & Co 008 can tow 1,600 kilos. And that's actually not that impressive, because my EC40 can actually tow 1,800. So if the XC70 can only do 1,006, that's actually a thumbs down for me. But that was all for the exterior dimensions. Now we do have to talk about the powertrain, because that is the real juicy parts with this XC70 long-range plug-in hybrid. And I'm not quite sure what version that will come when it eventually comes to Europe and to your market. I'm not quite sure what version you are getting, but this is just the base form on what's available, and then we will see what they bring to your market. Because we have a front-wheel drive option with a small battery, and then we have an all-wheel drive option with a big battery, massive battery. But both of these two options have the same petrol engine in front. 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine at approximately 120 kilowatt. I haven't written down the horsepower figures, but this should be like 150 maybe, around that. So that's the base, that's the core of your XC70. It's on 60 liters, so that is significant to get massive range. So 60 liters petrol tank. But then the front wheel drive option. Then there's the battery in the floor on 21.2 kilowatt hours. So a massive battery, already significantly larger than the 18.8 kilowatt hours that we have in all Volvo's plug-in hybrids right now. So 21.2. That is the LFP battery from Cattle, CATL. And we haven't gotten any range figures yet. We haven't gotten the WLTP figures, but we have the Chinese CLTC measurement. And that claims that this 21.2 kilowatt hours battery can go 100 kilometers. And if we're going to take the WLTP figures out of this CATL, it is said that the CLTC is 15 to 25% higher. So that means that the WLTP figures should be like 75 to 85 kilometers, all electric. AC charging can take 11 kilowatt and approximately 4 hours of charging. DC charging 0 to 80 on 39 minutes. And the system power of this, if we take the petrol engine, maybe we should also include the 2 different electric motors, because this front wheel drive option, petrol engine, and then we have 2 electric motors. We have the P1 motor on 60 kilowatt, that is approximately 80 horsepower. This is responsible for power generation and starting, so the startup of the car before the P2 takes over. And I think then the P1 shuts down. I haven't gotten a clear answer, but the P2, at least that's the primary drive motor at 107 kilowatts, 143 horsepower. So if you take 143 horsepower plus 80 horsepower plus the approximately 150 from the petrol engine. But then again, I don't think you can count all of these together because the system power according to Volvo are 318 horsepower. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 8 seconds. So that is the spec for the front wheel drive. But then we come to the juicy parts, the all-wheel drive setup. The battery, significantly larger, and it's not LFP this time. It is actually an NMC battery, but from the same supplier, CATL. A battery on 39.6 kilowatt hours. And the range figures, according to the CLTC, are 212 kilometers. But if we try to find out the LTP figures from that, it's approximately 160 to 180 kilometers all electric. So that is really, really good. And unlike all of Volvo's previous plug-in hybrids, now you can get all-wheel drive, all electric. Because previously on Volvo's plug-in hybrids, the petrol engine was powering the front axle and the rear electric motor was powering the rear axle. But now on the XC70, you can get all-wheel drive, all electric. And the kicker with the all-wheel drive setup, yes, we have the P1 motor and the P2 motor, but we also have a P3 motor in the rear, significantly stronger. That is on 156 kilowatt, 209 horsepower. So if we combine these numbers, and as I said earlier, with the front wheel drive setup, you can't combine all of the numbers from the petrol engine and all of the electric motors. Because according to Volvo, the system power of 462 horsepower. So I think that means that you can't run all of them together. Maybe the petrol engine, maybe you can't run that at the same time as you're running the front P2 motor. Or maybe if the battery is completed, I'm not sure what motor this is charging. So there's some things I'm still wondering on, but either way, 462 horsepower total for the all-wheel drive setup. AC charging, also 11 kilowatts, approximately 7 hours. DC charging, 0 to 80, 23 minutes. So significantly shorter than the 39 minutes we had earlier. 0 to 100, 5.3 seconds. So significantly faster. I couldn't find a number for the DC charging according to Volvo's page, but the corporate sister 008 from Lync & Co, they claimed 85 kilowatt was the peak charging power for the Lync & Co 008 on DC charging. So maybe it will be the same for the XC70. So I think this is a really exciting powertrain option in the XC70. Long range plug-in hybrid, really complex with the P1, P2 and P3 option. But yeah, another cool fact in terms of charging, the XC70 can provide V2L. So you can get your own adapter that you can connect in your charging port and you can charge small electric devices. Maybe you have a caravan, maybe you have a little grill or something, electrical devices when you're out camping. V2L. And then design. Design is very subjective. But initially when I saw the XC70 the first time, I wasn't super thrilled. I was thinking, yeah, it's a good looking car. But I was too obsessed with the name XC70. And the XC70, that is just a legend. Still to this day, if I could, I would have bought a XC70 right now. As like a car number 2. In addition to my EC40. I love the XC70 and it's legendary. And I see them everywhere here in Sweden. I love the XC70. Especially one of the last ones. I remember this commercial from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. This, was it Electric Silver? This commercial when he, Zlatan was the main character and he jumped out in a frozen lake. And then afterwards he was driving the XC70. Just a wicked commercial. But yeah, either way, exterior design. Eventually, the new XC70 has grown on me, and I think it looks actually really, really good. From the front, so much character, and I think it looks better than the EX90. But what do you think? But either way, if we look at the corporate Carson, the Lync & Co 008, I can put in a video clip from the press material from Lync & Co. What do you think? Honestly, I'm struggling with the exterior design of the Lync & Co. I'm not a fan from any angle at all. And if we look at the 008 and then look at the XC70, I think the XC70 looks marvelous. And it's going to be available in 7 different colors. We're going to have the new Aurora Silver. Let's see if I have them here in case I forget them. Aurora Silver, Crystal White, Onyx Black, Denim Blue, Vapor Grey, and Forest Lake, and Sand Dune. And I saw the press, what's it called, the live stream from the launch event for the XC70 in China. And it was a pretty wicked launch event because, like, at the end of it, they drove 7 cars out on stage, all in individual colors. But what's your favorite color for the XC70? For me, it's an easy choice. I would definitely go for Denim Blue Metallic. And then maybe secondly, Forest Lake, and then third, Crystal White. But I think it looks marvelous in Denim Blue Metallic. And I just love that shot when all the 7 cars were driving out on the stage. But yeah, XC70 exterior is available with 3 different alloys, 19-inch, 20-inch and 21-inch. And we got matrix LED headlights. And also, if we look at the lower parts of the front and the grille, it has active grille shutters, same as we saw on the EX90. I can open and close according to the car needs on cooling the battery or the climate for the interior. And then there's a bunch of cameras, radars, sensors around the car. So it's we got the Volvo safety. Also, I actually saw a crash test on the Chinese webpage with the XC70 that have crashed against a wall.
During the impact, the front of the XC70 deforms exactly as it should. It transfers the force into the safety cage to help absorb the impact, while the safety cage itself stays intact.
But I think the XC70 looks really good. And I saw a clip on the Chinese webpage from the winter testing of the XC70. And just looking at these pictures when the XC70 are in movement, I think it looks really good. And it has some presence, it has some character. And if we compare it against the EX90, I know what I would go for. I would go for the XC70. I think the front is more interesting, the side view, the rear, it's like 50-50. But most of the times I prefer the XC70. I think it looks really good. But what's your favorite? If we talk about exterior design, I actually forgot to mention one thing on the exterior design, and that is the rear wiper. So instead of the standard mounting on the middle part of the rear door, folding up when you're using it, it's actually mounted on the top part, under the spoiler. So it folds down when you're using it, and it can be tucked away when you're not using it. So that's a cool touch on the exterior design. But then we have to jump inside the all-new XC70. And I can put in a couple of pictures here, maybe a video clip, and you can share a comment down below. What do you think? What's your initial thoughts on the XC70 interior? Honestly, for me, I was really underwhelmed when I saw these interior pictures. I was super hyped of the exterior design and the powertrain options, especially the powertrain, this super long-range plug-in hybrid. And the tech spec, super excited. And then I saw the interior and I was just thinking, is this what we're gonna get? Same thing as I did with the EX90. Great exterior, decent tech, and then is this what we're gonna get? So I'm really underwhelmed of the new XC70. But yeah, let's get to it. The first thing, if we want to step inside, we are greeted with these pop-out door handles. But unlike the EX90, that just it tilts out and you have to like grab this little edge. Now the whole door handle comes out. So more a traditional door handle you can pull out. Same as on my EC40. Traditional door handles just folded in the doors. The doors itself and the windows are frameless. So that's probably a cool thing that some appreciate. And then we're greeted with two massive screens. We have a driver display on 12.3 inches and then a center display on 15.4 inches. But unlike all previous Volvos, it is now horizontally mounted instead of the portrait style. So I'm actually a huge fan of these horizontal screens instead of this portrait layout. So for me, it is a good thing with this horizontal screen. We also have a huge head-up display with the augmented reality. It was up to like 92 inches in front of you, so pretty massive head-up display. But also have a huge panoramic roof. This panoramic roof doesn't have an electric shade, sadly, or sun blind, or what you want to call this cover, but we have an electrochromatic roof, so you can dim it. I'm not sure if you can dim it just on or off, or if it's different patterns, but at least there's no sun blind. But the overall interior, I'm not quite sure. It looks really minimalistic, and I think it looks like the door panels on the driver's side, that you still have this two-button layout for the windows. I haven't gotten a detailed picture of that yet, but honestly, I'm underwhelmed. I think, and not to mention the steering wheel, that god-awful steering wheel. At least in the corporate system, you have the three-spoke steering wheel. But Volvo's XC70, two-spoke. And I think it looks really, really weird. Maybe it is physical buttons, so it's easy to operate, but I'm not feeling, or I'm not vibing with the XC70 interior. The seats look plush and all of good, but I don't know. And then if we talk the UI, because this, I'm not quite sure what they do when they bring it over to Europe, but according to all of the YouTube reviews, all the Chinese YouTube reviews I've seen, I can overlay one here, it is a completely different layout. It reminds me to some extent of the Tesla layout with a left menu setup, and then the menus will appear in larger form and with individual menu options on the right side. So it looks like a completely different setup. If we compare it against the corporate system, the Lync & Co 008, that's using a Fly Me Auto operating system. So not Android Auto as all of the Volvos EX90, EX30, ES90. Here we have a completely different operating system. So the Fly Me Auto. I'm not sure if we will get the same for the XC70 in Europe, but I'm guessing we will get that. So a completely different UI. So that is the interior. What do you think? I'm underwhelmed, and I also noticed a little thing. First I noticed the steering wheel and then the panoramic roof. I was just looking for, please have an electric blind. And then I also noticed something else when I was looking at the headlining. There's actually no grab handles in the headlining. And there's also no safety hook just behind. Because on my EC40 and all Volvos, if I fold down the seats, I have a safety net. So I can put up here in the headlining, mount it there to get a net if I have the car full of luggage. So a safety measure. In the XC90 you have it behind the second row, and if you fall down the second row you also have it in front of the first row, so you can put it up the net. No such thing in the XC70. That is a weird for a car, for a Volvo car, a safety car. It's a Volvo or safety, and without these hooks, I don't know. But before we end this video, I just wanted to put in a couple of words regarding the Lync & Co 008. And these are especially interesting when we compare it against the Volvo's XC70. Just going to mention a couple of things here. Yeah, as I said, the single motor on the Lync & Co is available in two different options: the small battery and the extended battery. Volvo's just a small battery. And I have already mentioned the charging, but the really interesting parts, well, I got a bunch of pigeons walking around me here, are regards the panoramic roof. Because the panoramic roof in the Lync & Co 008, that can open and close. The whole thing can open and close, and you also have an electric blind for the panoramic roof. Why do you have a first you can open the roof and then you have a blind on it, and Volvo, nothing. If that doesn't scream cost savings, then I don't know. And holy crap, don't scare me. And the other thing that annoyed me, the headlining or the roof panel inside the interior. You have grab handles in the Lync & Co 008, and you also have this hook to put in your safety net. You don't have that in your XC70. Really annoying. And then the last part that annoyed me with the Lync & Co, the front seats. It looks like the cushion extension is electric, but on the XC70 it is this manual shit. I have manual in my... There's a little bird that was flying up on my car. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but there's a... Oh, holy crap, it's almost inside my EC40. And I have the windows open. Maybe I should close the windows. And this is something you can't do with other Volvos like the EX90. You can't close the windows like a global opening and locking. I can... Oh, I'm not going to scare this... What the heck is happening here? So I can open all windows and I can close all windows. But why is it a little bird? Oh yeah, maybe. I have driven along the highway. And maybe there's a bunch of insects that has been killed. But maybe I should grab a picture of it. That was quite funny. Let me see if I can zoom in before they fly away. 3 little birds trying to eat insects for my car. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting to compare the Lync & Co 008 versus the XC70, because the XC70, it looks like, once again, it looks like the cheaped out version, same as the EX30. The EX30 are the cheaped out version of the Seeker X, and the smart hashtag is the one. And that is a real shame that Volvo take these shortcuts. Where is the grab handles? Where is the hook? Where is the electric cushion extension? Where is the open and closable panoramic roof? Where is the sun blind? But yeah, it's time to wrap up this video. That was it for my presentation of the all new XC70. What do you think about it? Is it a thumbs up, a thumbs down? For me personally, it's a huge thumbs up, double thumbs up. I'm a huge fan of the XC70. And the big news was that it was coming to Europe. But I live in Norway. Will it come to Norway? I don't know it, but I think it's going to be a big fat no. Because our government loves electric cars. It's like the carrot and the stick. You get a huge carrot if you buy electric cars with huge tax benefits. And they have a stick they're going to punch you with or spank you with if you buy something else. And even if the XC70 are in all purposes, maybe an electric car with a backup plan. You're going to use it as an all-electric maybe 95% of the time, but you have the comfort or the confidence of knowing you have a petrol engine for your long-distance driving. But it's not electric, it is a plug-in hybrid. So with that, I think our Norwegian government are just going to kill it off with taxes. So I don't think I will see it, but luckily I can just travel to Sweden. And I think it's going to come here because Sweden still appreciates plug-in hybrids, like other parts in Europe. But that was it. I think it's time to wrap up this video. Drop a comment down below what do you think about the upcoming XC70, and I hope I see you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.